Hi there, good day, Family Skills Program parents. I hope you are well. I know this must be a very stressful time for everyone. In varying ways, everyone is responding to this time differently depending on their individual circumstances and needs. Um, but I hope you're certainly making it a priority to take care of yourself and listen to your body and what you need right now. As well as taking care of your children as best you can. They're based on my conversations with a lot of parents, there's high expectations put on parents right now from the schools. And of course, that comes from a place of care from the school's part. But just a reminder for some of those of you that I've already spoken to is to lower your own expectations of yourself and of your children at this time. High expectations are kind of a normal day that's gone out the window. And so part of self-care and the way you can care for your children right now is to maybe dial back some of the expectations. And that maybe might include advocating to the school on behalf of your child that, listen, this is actually too much. Or if you don't feel you can do that, just doing it yourself, dialing it back within your own household. So that would be a number one recommendation I'd share with all of you right now. So I'm going to get into it, our presentation this week. I'm going to share the screen. And we are going to present. And go back to the beginning. All right, so this is session 9. After this, you would just have one more session remaining. Based on our current circumstances, I've chose to talk about healthy families. And the main kind of areas I think are concerning parents right now are digital parenting, family activities, and reviewing. We're gonna just do a review of emotion coaching because emotions can be quite intense right now, okay? So the main objectives I hope to provide is to provide you with digital parenting strategies to support your family having healthy lifestyles at this time. Fun alternatives to tech use, so encouraging those family bonds, that development of continued positive, healthy relationships, and like I said, to review emotion coaching. So let's get into the 3 top tips of digital parenting. So digital parenting comes from a workshop that Family Resource Center developed from research and evidence-based information. And so it's a 6-week workshop. So what I've done is narrowed it down to 3 top tips that might be helpful for you and your families at this time. So number 1 is to remember to use tech positively. Remember that it is a very helpful tool. It is the way that your kids are staying connected to their teachers and able to do their classwork. It's the way that we're staying connected to our friends and family right now. And so to certainly use it for the positives that it was invented for. When it comes to positive and healthy use, you can have the 3 E's in mind. That comes, and I'll break that down. So the 3 E's of tech use. Question, is it enriching? So an example could be, are they watching a TV show that is promoting healthy social norms, healthy relationships? And if you're in doubt and you're not too sure if the TV show or whatever media they're exposed to is healthy, go over to commonsensemedia.org. That's a great resource for parents. And you can search the title of the TV show or whatever it might be and look up if it is age appropriate and what are some of the key messages that it has. And again, Common Sense Media is great for games, for TV shows, for websites. There's a lot. It's really rich in information for parents. It's the number 1 resource that we recommend as part of the digital parenting workshop. So that's number 1. Is it enriching? Is it helping them to be enhanced in some way? And number 2, is it educating? For an example, a really good website right now is Scholastic. Scholastic is a publishing house of books, but its website is very useful right now. And because of COVID-19, they released a lot of their resources as free. So they can go on there if you're limited in books. Obviously, the libraries are closed right now and bookshops are closed. But you can actually go on there and read books digitally. They have games and different things on there that are making reading really fun. So that's educating. And number 3, is it engaging? Is it a positive, engaging activity, such as a FaceTime call with their grandma? Obviously, social connection is vital, especially right now. And so I highly recommend that you call your friends, you call your family, and that your kids are a part of that at least once a week, if not more, and that you're using those calls to support one another and not heighten any stress on either side, but to actually use it as a positive form of connection, right? And so, excuse me, the second top tip for digital parenting, I would say, is consider if you're utilizing tech in an unhealthy way, and to dial that back as well. So that could be catching yourself if you've been scrolling on social media for too long, catching yourself, or maybe you need to set timers on your phone, or sometimes actually telling yourself, I'm going to go into a digital detox, I'm not going to go on Facebook and all these things anymore, or I'm only going to go on for half an hour or something in the morning and then that's it. So sometimes setting those limits with yourself and not just your children. You know, spending several hours of TV can be really unhealthy mentally, physically, and as well as overexposure to news. I know there's a lot of tips to parents to say, you know, you got to be your filter for your children and only letting children know what's really important and age appropriate. But that also includes the parent too. You know, when we're constantly watching global news, that can really affect us as well. So maybe limiting your own exposure to that. And then digital parenting top tip number 3 is a really good strategy that helps you to control and structure your digital interactions would be to have tech-free times and or tech-free zones. So that could be an hour in the morning. We're not going to do any tech. We're going to talk. We're going to pray. We're going to do some exercise or some yoga or whatever together. And tech-free zones, the 2 number 1 places I would say highly recommended as no tech would be the dining table, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We're eating together as a family and we're not going to have our phones out. That includes the parent too. And the bedrooms. The bedrooms, that's where we really need our sleep. And when we bring our technology in there, that blue light that's emitted, it disrupts the melanin that is required for us to sleep. Okay, so those are my 3 top tips. And when in doubt, go to commonsensemedia.org, or you can always contact us as well. Ooh. Whoops. So the next thing is going to be an educational tool. Let's see if I can go back to that. Okay, I'll spare you the rest, but you can show this video to your children. It's a great resource that was created by the Red Cross of the Cayman Islands to instruct our children on how to fully and properly wash our hands. And it's quite a short video. We were almost finished actually, but please show that to your children and encourage their full hand washing. Okay, so that's a digital parenting resource. That's when technology is really useful and used as a tool, right? So Easter is coming up, and certainly one of the biggest things I want to encourage you to do with your children is to have fun, to play, please. Why should you do that is because it will continue to develop healthy and positive relationships between the 2 of you. Play and fun together helps relieve stress from your children and from yourself. and it can prevent behavioral problems if kids are having enough of what they need, which is play and fun. That can prevent issues popping up. And of course, exercise and any kind of body movement supports physical and mental well-being, which all of you need at this time. We all need right now, okay? And so some activity ideas I wrote down, you might remember we did indoor bowling. We used plastic cups, but if you have just some like empty water bottles and a ball, that's all you need. And you can even have the kids come up with the rules and have fun, okay? Number 2, dance battles. Simple, just put on some music and dance, okay? There's Kids Bop is on YouTube. Draw-offs, this is something my family do a lot too. We do dance battles too, and we do draw-offs where we pick up a character from a famous movie. So say, for example, Elsa from Frozen, and we all try to draw that person from memory. And it's really bad. It's so bad. Like we all do terrible, but it's really fun. And we put time limits on it. We might say, okay, we only have 5 minutes, and then we reveal it and we all laugh, and it's really funny. Number 4, if you have some board games, cards, dominoes, anything lying around the house, or you can teach them a game from your childhood, I highly recommend it. And number 5 is Wiggle Brain Breaks, which I'll show you in a second from YMCA Easter Camp. So this is something I highly recommend, is get some paper. When you hear your child say, I'm bored, get some paper and give them a pencil and say, okay, I want you to come up with some ideas, at least 5 that you can do with or without mommy or daddy, and for when you're bored. And this can kind of be a plan so that when they're tired and they can't think of it for whatever reason, they have their list up on the fridge or on their mirror, and they might say, oh, I'm bored again. Oh, well, you made that list, go check it, you know, or, well, you know what, you're a really smart kid, I know you'll think of something to do. So I wouldn't recommend giving them this list, because I think this is like too much support. I think it's good for kids to actually come up with their own ideas. So the next time you hear them say, I'm bored, get them to write down some ideas of what they can do. And if you want to help them out, you can write down the first idea. If you know that they love to read or they love art, you could just write that down. Well, you could do some drawing, you could do some reading, right? Or you can write up your own story. Kids are very creative, a lot more creative than we give them credit for. So let them come up with their list, their board list. So this is an Easter resource. So obviously Easter camps and breaks and stuff aren't happening quite like they were, but the YMCA is releasing posts every day on their Facebook page. And their first one that they released was called Move Your Body, Wiggle Brain Breaks. So that could be things like stretching, and again, do this together as a family, or you can make it a competition. If your kid is has siblings, they can make it a bit of a competition or a group where they can create their own camp in the house. You know, it can be really fun. And again, kids are very creative, so letting them, you know, have fun with it. And so these can be found on YMCA's Facebook page. Another resource that came out recently is CaymanParent.com, has an article of, I think it's about 10 to 12 different activities that they can do around the yard or in the house. So that could be indoor camping, you know, let them create a fort or their own tent out of the couch or chairs and sheets, you know, or do some Easter egg hunting around the yard if you're able to provide that. But, you know, it doesn't have to be expensive or even cost anything. And again, the kids can get really creative with this too. So this will be the last but not least thing on my list, is just reviewing emotion coaching. And so this is the cheat sheet. And again, emotion coaching is a 6-session program that's delivered individually. So this can be delivered in a bigger scope. but these are essentially what emotion coaching looks like in the steps, right? So step one happens, it happens with the parent internally. It's really an understanding that your child is going to have difficult feelings and they're going to express them not necessarily in the best way because they're still learning how to express emotions. So it's that awareness that I have difficult feelings, my child will have difficult feelings. How we express them is going to be very different because they're still developing. Step two is recognizing that emotions can be an opportunity for connection with your child as well as teaching. This is a point, okay, they're starting to have a tantrum. I'm going to deal with that. I'm going to help them to calm down and to de-escalate their emotions. And once they're in a calm place, this will be an opportunity for us to talk about how they can handle that problem in a different way, in a better way next time. Yeah, so giving them those skills, teaching them, okay, this is what maybe you can do. What do you think you can do? And also asking the question, what do you think you can do better next time, right? But as parents, we go strictly to problem solving. And so this is important in terms of actually breaking it down and using the emotion to our advantage to teach and to connect and break it down. This is more effective, okay? Then step three, a really good thing is labeling. So this might be where you're first getting connected with your child. Maybe you've held them, you're like, it looks like you're really upset right now. You're really frustrated, what do you think? And maybe they'll continue to cry or whatever the case might be. And then step four would be where you're validating, wow, that it's really hard to feel like that. Mommy feels like that sometimes too. I get it. So that's the validation part. You're communicating some understanding, right? And then step five is where the solutions take place. But a lot of times for parents, that's step one, right? So we're flipping that on its head a little bit. And so step five could be, okay, you're noticing they've calmed down, because when you label emotions and you validate emotions, that helps to de-escalate the intensity of the emotion. So you might notice, okay, they've started to calm down, whether it's anger or sadness or, we all have a plethora of emotions. And if they've misbehaved, this can be a point where you're putting in the rules. Remember, our rules, we don't hit one another. We use gentle hands. We are kind to one another. We say kind things even when we're upset, and we can, walk away and calm down. We can use our snap, and then we can talk about whatever the problem is. So this can be where you're reminding them of the rules of the house. And, or if it's a new behavior, saying like, I get that you didn't know what to do then, or I get that your emotions got the control of you and you weren't in control of your emotions just then. Let's talk about what you can do differently next time, especially when you know that they know better and they already know what to do, and it was just a case of the emotion took over them and they lacked the self-control. Asking them, hey, what can you do differently next time? Is there a way you can use your snap in that moment next time? Constantly parents feed the information. We feed, here, this is what you're going to do. Kids don't necessarily learn that way. They learn more when we ask them what they're going to do, getting them to develop their problem solving skills. And they might not be able to tell you then and there, and that's fine. You can say, I'm going to give you some time to think about how you can handle that differently next time. And so we're going to talk at dinner, or we're going to talk at bedtime about how you can go about that differently. But definitely, I can't stress giving them the opportunity to come up with their own plans enough. It's very helpful. And then you can put the onus on them. Hey, you told me you were going to do X, Y, Z next time. What happened? What got in the way of you doing that, right? And again, that's another emotion coach opportunity. Okay, so if you have any questions about that, please reach out to us. But that comes to this comes to the end of our webinar. So just to quickly recap, because I know I talked about quite a bit, is number one, practice healthy tech use as a family regularly. That includes yourself and your child, and what we role model is what we end up seeing in our child, and that includes how we use technology. Number two, just put down the devices, have those tech-free times and those tech-free zones so that you can, make time for family fun, whether that's dancing, drawing together, even just using tech in a positive way to just watch a movie together, or play board games, for example, right? And then third is to understand that you and your children, you're going to experience difficult emotions, and emotion coaching is a helpful way to have your child understand their emotions and to come up with better solutions in coping with them. And this is helping them on their journey to adulthood as well, okay? Home practice, I'm making it very easy. I just want you all to schedule at least once a day of complete device-free family fun. And we would love for you to share your photos with us. So please respond back to this email with your photos. I really do hope you all just use this opportunity to have fun together, to talk, to play games, and just to enjoy yourselves. It's been very stressful. And a lot of you might still be trying to adjust to the circumstances. And so this is an opportunity to just kind of relax and focus on your own mental health and your children's mental health. All right. So thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to all of you again soon. Bye.